Thank you so much. So many good friends, people who we have been in the fight with. But before I start, and I do want to do introductions, Brianna told me I couldn't introduce and welcome 25, 30 people, but I'm going to, I have to, I feel compelled. I first want to start by asking Brianna to come up here, because for anyone who's talked to me, about this campaign, I've told them the number one thing that was important to me was to ensure that not only was Brianna supportive, that she was more all in than me. And you know how I found that out? Is because when she was in labor, with our now 8-week-old, we were talking about this campaign. And not because I was bringing it up genuinely. We watched football, talked about this campaign. I'm not sure if a guy can get any luckier, but in all seriousness, there's no one who's loved me better, challenged me better, supported me better, been alongside me better than this woman. And the reason why I'm up here is because of her, and I'm grateful for her. I love you, babe. Thank you so much. I'm grateful to my team, Joanna De La Cruz, Mary Turner, Steven Sensmeyer, and others who aren't here. You guys did an amazing job in putting this together. Everyone knows how particular I am, and I had no commentary, so there you go, success. And before I start with our elected officials, I of course have to thank my parents. And one of the key parts, if I ever thought about running for office, that was always on my mind, was what I would say about my parents. Because the reason I believe in the things I believe in, the reason I have my faith, the reason I have these values is because of the upbringing that Yusuf and Sola gave me, because of the fight they fought, actual fight, because of the fight that our family fought in Lebanon as Christians, because of the sacrifices that they made to bring us to the United States of America, the greatest nation on the face of the planet, and I wouldn't be here without them. Thank you. So here tonight, of course, we heard from my dear, dear friend, my brother, Seth Leibson. Thank you so much for opening us up. To ensure that I get through the list, I would ask if you could reserve your applause unless you really feel the urge to do so until the end. We have Yavapai County Sheriff David Rhodes. Dear friend, thank you so much for being here. Representative Joseph Chaplick, of course. Representative Lisa Fink. Mayor Lisa Borowski couldn't be here, but thankful for her endorsement and support for the campaign. City Councilwoman Jan Dabauskas and her amazing family. City Councilman Barry Graham, thank you so much for being here and for your endorsement. City Councilwoman Kathy Littlefield supports the campaign but couldn't be here. Fountain Hills Council Member Gail Earl, thank you so much. And I know she's still on her way, but Mesa City Councilwoman Dorian Taylor, one of those fights that we fought to take out someone who didn't stand with our values. My dear friend, State Senator, former State Senator, should be State Senator, Nancy Bartow, thank you so much for your mentorship and for your support. Former Arizona Corporation Commissioner Jim O'Connor and former chair of this area, thank you so much, Jim, for being here and for your support. We have a couple of folks who are near and dear to my heart. We have the Honorary Consulate General for Lebanon in Arizona, Dr. George Ayub in the back. Thank you so much for what you do for the Lebanese community. We have as well Father Wissam Akiki, the priest at St. Joseph Maronite Catholic Church, a pillar and backbone of the Lebanese community. Thank you so much, Father Abuna, for being here. I appreciate it. Amy Carney, Scottsdale Unified School Board member. Thank you, Amy, for being here and for your support. And I'm excited that Jeannie Beasley, dear friend, is a candidate for the Scottsdale Unified School Board and is running with Amy. And we have countless, countless folks that are LD chairs like Brian, that are part of the, I think, a majority of the Palo Verde Republican women's groups. New executive committee is here. Thank you, ladies, so much for your support. I was just at the meeting for lunch today. Thank you. We have former candidates, conservatives. I saw Rob Scantlebury clapping when one of those names was mentioned because Rob has taken on a tough fight more than once and I've been honored to stand with you. Rob, thank you so much for being here. And of course, where's Kathy? Herod? My dear friend Kathy, someone who knows better than I'll ever imagine, taking arrows, fighting the good fight. I was proud to stand alongside Kathy, whether it was on life, religious freedom. Thank you for being here. And for Peter Gentala, who recently took over Center for Arizona Policy and Center for Arizona Policy Action, thank you. All right. Now, I promise I'm done. And I know many of you know me, but I do want to give a speech and talk about why I'm up here. Because you may know me. You may know me as a candidate, as a consultant. You know me as a data guy. But why am I up here? Why is George? Why did I decide to run? And people ask me, especially those that are, what I would say lovingly, in the bubble, other politicos, they're like, George, you're crazy for doing this. And you know, I want to have a generous response back because I don't feel crazy for doing this. The reason why they're saying that I'm crazy is because they don't know how to handle this moment that we're in. They don't know how to lean in to the people, to the voters, to our grassroots, and that's why I'm doing this. That's what gives me energy. So for me, being out and about, coming back from an event, even if I've been there for 4 hours, Brianna knows nothing gives me more life than talking to our voters, leaning in, whether they ask me tough questions, whether it's a small group or a large group. I'm doing this for all of us in the room, for our children. I love that there are little kids here. I'm doing this for the future of the state and for them and for all of us. And so I'm grateful for that. So I don't feel crazy for doing that. My background, as I alluded to, I'm a Lebanese Christian. My family left Lebanon after the Civil War. My uncle was a Christian martyr. He died early on in the war at 19, taking a sniper fire to the head. My parents fought in the Civil War. They met, actually, in an underground bunker. Don't let my mom's calm demeanor right now fool you. She is a fiery woman, and nobody should stand in her way. Not that my dad's not passionate, but I definitely get my passion and my fire from my mom. And that story and my upbringing and the stories that I heard from my parents growing up on our road trips is what got me into politics to begin with, is what got me centered on my values and got me centered on my faith. And I have spent my career in politics. I've run great races, like for Representative Chaplik, like for the sheriff, like for Rob Scantlebury, like for Nancy Bartow and others in this room. And I did that sometimes to a detriment to other clients who were frustrated, sometimes to people telling me, well, George, you're doing this again. You're challenging people that shouldn't be challenged, but that's not the point. I don't exist and I didn't get into this to just make nice. It doesn't mean I do it ungraciously. But if folks don't align with our values, we have to stand up. We have to push back. I'm not going to let folks be in our state legislatures or in our cities that don't align with our values. That is a mistake, and we can't have that, which is what I've done in my career, and I've taken those arrows, but now I want to go and be in the front. And it's been a long process. Anyone who knows our life, we have a new, as I mentioned, 8-week-old. None of this makes sense logistically, and yet I'm up here. And that's why it took us a year to get here, a year of prayer, a year of contemplation. But as we prayed and thought about what we needed to do, and I kept closing the door, and God kept opening the door through Brianna, and then Charlie was assassinated in September, and that rocked both of our worlds. That rocked the world of everyone in this room I know and what he represented. And look, sometimes you say when you're up close to something or someone, you don't see the full picture. And I felt like I had that with Charlie. We were so close up. We took him for granted being here. I didn't realize the extent that he spoke about faith. I didn't realize the call that he made to our youth. I understood it politically. I did not understand the religious part. And that struck me in a different way after his death. And we obviously know that God works all things for his good. And so after his assassination, Brianna and I, like I said, prayed deeply, and we felt convicted that I needed to step up, which is why I'm here today, wanting to be down in the State House, wanting to advocate for the voters of District 3, but wanting to represent the entire state of Arizona and the values that this state purports. We are a cowboy state for a reason. This is a conservative state, and as the data guy, I'll tell you, it's not purple, it's red. But this state is only red if we nominate the right candidates, if we speak the right way. And so I've spent 2 years traveling around the state, from Mojave County down to Pima County, up to Yavapai. I love going up to Prescott. Traveling the state, talking about the issues that matter, talking about our tone and tenor, talking about the types of candidates that we need to nominate. And people were resonating with that message. I was giving a stump speech without realizing I was giving a stump speech. But the reason why I was doing that, and I was there from a data perspective, is because I wanted to arm our grassroots to ensure that we have victories. Look, it is it's a no-brainer, and the bare minimum is that I'm going to be a good vote. I'm confident in that. I have no qualms about it. Look, the people that are telling me, oh, George, we like that you're running. We know we're only going to agree with you 60% of the time. Those are the exact people I want to only agree with me 60% of the time, if you catch my drift. They know where I'm going to be. They know I'm going to hold the line. They know I'm way too pro-life for their taste, and they know they're going to have to deal with it because that's who I am. That's the bare minimum. But what I want to be able to do is cast a vision for the future. I understand I'm one state representative, but I've never done anything in life if I haven't done it huge. As my mom always said, George, this is too big, you're going to get disappointed. I don't, maybe, but I feel called to this. That's why the tagline is Conservative Vision for Arizona's Future, because I do think now is the time for vision. We all know what we're against. If you did a poll of everyone in this room, we'd have with 90% consistency what we are against. But if you ask us what we are for, if you ask us where we want to go, there's going to be differences. And I want to be at the tip of the spear of catalyzing the future of this state in a conservative vision, in a vision that's rooted in faith as a Christian, in a vision that's pro-family, in a vision that defends the most vulnerable, in a vision that defends our law enforcement, and frankly is just common sense, right? That's why common sense is that word. And I've grown up with an adage that we say often in Lebanese culture that nothing is true but the truth. And the reason why we say that is not that, obviously it's like a duh, George, nothing is true but the truth. What that means that in the short term, truth may not prevail. We know that, we're in a fallen world. But in the long term, truth prevails. Truth prevails because of him. But I also believe the truth that we are selling as conservatives do prevail. We've seen those gains in Arizona and in America, and so we have that opportunity. I want to close with this. I have 4 words and phrase on my palm cards that define me. First and foremost, anyone who knows me, you know I'm a Christian. I believe in my Lord and Savior, and anything and everything I do starts with him and ends with him, period, hard stop. Nobody else is more important. He's the only lobbyist that can get my ear. And as Ben Shapiro and other non-Christians say, we know that Christian values are good for this nation, and I want to lead that way by example, in the way that Brianna and I lead our family, in the way that I would vote, in the people that I would support, in the folks that I would help raise up. That's going to be central to it. Second, then I'm a husband. Brianna's the love of my life, and our marriage is rooted on Christ, and the way that I'm going to vote is to further people's ability to get married in traditional marriage and God's vision for marriage and for the design of the family. And then third are our kiddos, our 3 amazing boys, 10, 8, and 8 weeks, our youngest having been born on Charlie Kirk's birthday after 2 days of labor, so he really wanted to hold out for Charlie Kirk's birthday. All of the top issues that you see are not just for people to get married, but for people to be able to have children, whether they want 1 or 2, I hope they want more. But to be able to raise a family in Arizona, a state that I love, a state that I came to in 1996 as a legal immigrant, a state that looks very different than it does today, but a state that's as beautiful as ever and a state that's growing, and we need to encourage it to grow in the right way. And then finally, and why I didn't start with this, I'm an America First conservative. I'm a proud Republican, but that doesn't mean anything if you don't know that I'm a Christian, I'm a husband, and I'm a father. It has to come in that order, and I would implore all of our elected officials to think about their status as electeds in that way. I wear my heart on my sleeve, I wear my values on my sleeve. It's immensely important to me, but it starts in that order. The way that we have safe communities, the way that we protect our children from woke ideology, the way that we educate our kids in core academics, the way that we defend law enforcement, the way that we defend the First and Second Amendments, the way that we ensure integrity in our elections, starts with those words in that order and starts with the men and women in this room. That's why I'm running. And if I haven't asked today, because obviously I wouldn't be good at this if I didn't ask you for something, I ask for your investment in this movement and in this vision that I'm going to help cast. It's not just me. I can't do it alone. All of you. The reason why I'm up here is because we've been casting that vision, whether we realize it or not, for years. whether it's on the good days or on the bad days, whether we win or we lose. Invest first and foremost through prayer. I believe in this. We need prayer. We know that the more exposure that our family gets and I get, the more that the devil wants to interfere. So we ask for your prayers intentionally, and I'm going to be working on, and not to put her on the spot, hoping that my dear friend Nancy Bartow will help put together a prayer team, because she had a prayer team, and that's where I learned it from. That was the first thing on your campaign that you started, was a prayer team. Invest with your time, whether you live in the district or not. Of course, if you live here, let's knock doors together. I've already knocked on 150. I knocked on our entire neighborhood. I was giddy to do it, but I was like, are you serious? I'm like, of course I want to start knocking now. Make phone calls, write postcards, distribute yard signs. It's a significant amount of work. I always had the adage as a campaign manager that there's no job too small, and I never want to say no to anyone. Whatever they're able to do, I want to meet them where they're at. Of course, invest in resources. My goal is to raise $250,000 for this campaign. I've blessed that I've raised $50,000 already. My goal for this year is $100,000, so I'm halfway to that goal. Thank you so much for so many people in this room who have donated. Thank you for bearing with me as I follow up with you for your donation. Always want to do it very kindly. Join arms with me. Join arms with us. Lean into your local Republican women's groups or men's groups or legislative districts, whether you're in Mesa, whether you're in the Southwest Valley, whether you're in the far North Valley, whether you're right here in District 3. Help elect good representatives like Representative Fink and Chaplik and others that couldn't be here, Representative Olson. We need more and better and continued conservative leadership down in the State House and Senate like those men and women. We need amazing folks on our school boards. So look, this election is a primary election. So after the last Tuesday of July, because they are going to move the election up, I wish they would just keep it permanently, which will be my birthday. So that'll be a fun way to spend my birthday. My number one job in the general is going to be to elect our school board members, to elect good conservatives and our Republican nominees in District 4 and District 2, the swing districts right attached to District 3, to ensure that Scottsdale stays Scottsdale and we get great people back like Councilmember Barry Graham, that we ensure we have a conservative Republican governor in the state of Arizona, because I really do not want to deal with 4 years of Katie Hobbs. But if we have to, we'll march through. Thank you all so much for being here. I am so, so grateful for you, sincerely. That's why I was out there as you were coming in. I wanted to make sure I shook each and every one of your hands. It means the world to me that you're here. I am proud to be up here because of you, and it is so humbling, the response that I've gotten from people that I've worked with, from people that I've worked alongside, that I've worked for, from electeds from across the state. It just means the world to me. I am so grateful for you. Thank you so much for being here.